Everybody, how are you?
Very good.
Today it's an episode of Baking with Becca, although usually it's Cooking with Carl and Baking with Becca.
Yeah. I'm just today.
No, we're a team. So today we're actually doing something sweet and runny. We are doing the blueberry scones and a blueberry jam.
Maybe whipped cream?
Yes.
Yeah.
So originally we were going to do clotted cream because clotted cream is what you have with scones, but clotted cream takes a long time to make when you're making it at home.
12 hours?
12
In
hours
the slow cooker.
in the slow cooker. Then you have to skim it and let it sit overnight. And then you mix it up the next day and you can use it, and it's super delicious. But honestly, for today, we were like, there's no way we can leave this on overnight in the club and be safe. So
Yeah,
we're going to do it with regular whipped cream today. So we'll see how we go.
we'll have to do.
Yeah, I think it'll be all right. I
Are we
think
going
so.
to use the electric mixer again?
Yeah, we can
I'll
use the
find
electric
that.
mixer, or I mean, you could just use your biceps, Carl. I mean, that's what I do sometimes. I don't know about that, huh?
Yeah, I could. The
gotta pump it up.
was messy, so.
Yeah, for sure. Well, listen, everyone, we're going to start out actually with the scones today. And so with the scones, the recipe for the actual scones are fairly simple.
There's like 3 ingredients. right?
Yes. So this is Hild's recipe that she recommended. So this is a mixture of a Ronnie request and a Hild request.
Yeah.
So it's 1.5 cups of heavy duty whipping cream,
Holy.
one
In the biscuits.
in the biscuits,
Holy moly.
1 tablespoon of granulated sugar, but that gets rid of the butter, right?
Yeah.
And then 2 cups of self-rising flour, which is technically, we'll get into that in our hot tip though.
Yeah,
We'll
when
talk
we get
about that
there.
when we get there. All right? And that's really all that you need. And then of
Pretty
course your
simple.
blueberries. So it's straight up simple today. And something that you can do with everything that you have in your cupboard. And if you just want to make scones and have them as a quick lunch, then you've got them.
And for the oven, it's pretty hot. Eh?
The oven is super hot today. It's 500 degrees in your oven, which you would think would just burn them to a crisp, but apparently it's
What-
exactly what we need.
What are they in there, like 10 seconds?
I don't know, but actually, technically speaking here, it looks like 10 minutes.
Okay.
So you start it out at 500 degrees,
And you ramp it
and then you
down?
ramp it down to 400 degrees.
Oh.
Not that that makes much of a difference. What do you think, friends?
If it stay around 500, we'll see.
We'll
We'll
see.
follow it.
We'll see if we've got a fire. I mean, we've got a fireman on staff here, so I should be okay, right? We know where the fire safety equipment is.
I hope.
I can handle it. You got this. All right, so let's get going. We're going to start with our hot tip today because we are going to start with self-rising flour.
I think it's a scam, right?
It is. It's a bit of a scam. You go to the store and you look for self-rising flour. You think, oh my God, I need to have this self-rising flour.
$8
$8
for that flour.
$8 for flour when you can just do it yourself.
Because we looked at it and,
Yeah.
and all that's in it is baking soda and salt, which everybody that bakes has anyway.
Exactly. So maybe we'll start. Carl, maybe I'll get you to start.
Sure,
I need
sure.
2 cups of plain flour. So in order to make the self-rising flour, here we
Now,
go.
are we going to, what's the word when you bake it?
Are we gonna sift it? We
Yeah.
should sift it if we can.
Do
So
we
this
have
is
a
the,
little guy?
I don't know if we do, but
I don't
maybe you look and I'll start then.
Okay.
So I'm gonna start with the 2 cups of flour while Carl looks for a sifter. That is the one thing that you have to be careful with self-rising flour, because again, you don't wanna have to mix and stir the dough too much, because then it gets really glutinous. So you wanna make sure, so here's one. How you doing there, Carl? Did you find anything?
I don't know, we have like a deep fryer basket.
Yeah,
We gotta get a sifter one of these days. We're gonna.
let's try the deep fryer basket. How about
It's
MacGyver?
like,
It's okay, let's try.
eh,
We'll give it a go.
I really think it's too thick for sifting, you know what I mean?
Oh, I don't know. Actually, that might
You
work. It
think
might be
you
okay. The
should-
whole point of sifting your flour is to break up lumps, right?
Put it in already.
Yeah, so yeah, but we'll do it again. So we
Put it
just need
through
another
again,
bowl.
okay.
Yeah, we just
Put
need
it in.
another bowl. So let's get another bowl.
Okay.
All right, so yeah, secondary bowl. There we go. Making it work
Big
as
bowls,
usual.
big bowls.
Big bowls. We like big bowls and we cannot lie.
Let's see.
Here we go. Go in here. There we go. See him shaking it through. It's fine. It's fine. Carl's all worried about it. I'm not worried about it.
At least
See,
we're pretending.
look
to
at that. I don't even think it's pretending to sip, Carl. It's
You think
actually
it's working?
working.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do think it's working. Look at
sip.
the look at the texture of the flour now.
It's
That's
just-
great.
So it just gets rid of your clumps.
For sure. I mean, you can be fancy about sifting with a super fine sifter if you're working at a French pâtisserie.
Or you use what you got, right?
Exactly. And that's what we do here. We use what we
Yeah,
got
yeah,
and
yeah.
we're making it work, right?
Make it
Air
work.
five. All right, so let's keep going.
What's
So
that?
we've got this. What is next? We need baking soda. So for your next thing in your self-rising flour, Carl, I need you to put in, let me take a peek here. I need you to put in 1.5 teaspoons,
Oh, boy.
1.5, Carl, not even one. There's
1.5
pressure
is
here.
1.5.
1.5. This is science.
Yeah, yeah.
Baking is science.
So don't do it over top.
Don't do it over
Don't do
time.
what I do.
Don't do this. That's okay.
You gotta be exact.
All right, so half of one
One.
now.
And
Uh-huh.
I spilled
Did you spill?
it. Whoa.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's
So
gonna,
that's-
so the thing with baking soda, what's interesting with leavening on baking soda is that you taste it far more than you taste it, like
do you
with a
taste it?
soda or
I
with that
never-
powder.
I thought it was all strictly for rising.
Yeah, so, well, no, it is strictly for rising, but
Does
you
it
don't
taste
wanna taste it, is what I'm saying. So that's why you wanna be so, like, other than the rising, the science part of it, if you use too much baking soda, and I'm sure many of us know this already, you can really taste it in your baking later, right?
What happens?
It just tastes a really weird, like it's like a weird soapy. Has anybody ever put too much and then tasted
I can
baking
see
soda?
that. All I ever used it for was those volcanoes.
Oh, volcanoes.
Science-
God.
Science class. So salt is what,
Okay,
right?
and then salt. So I need you to put in for me. Let's take a peek at how much salt we need. I would put in 2 teaspoons of
2
salt.
teaspoons?
2 teaspoons of
Sounds about
salt.
right.
Yep.
At least I found the pouring.
Our self-rising flour here that we're creating. So anytime somebody else tries to sell you a bag of
Self-rising.
self-rising flour, friends.
You know what? If you were in a pinch and in a hurry,
Well, I guess
or
so.
convenience, right? You're paying for convenience.
I guess it's like taking
Like
fast
anything.
food,
Yeah.
fast flour.
That's
Doesn't
it.
have the same ring to it. All right, here
And
we
then-
go.
Okay, so 2.
Yep, and now you mix it together. So you mix that up, Carl, and we are set. Now, and that's the hot tip. Self-rising flour,
Yay.
done like dinner.
Easy one. And we're going to talk a little bit about blueberries while we're mixing, eh?
Yeah, we will.
Everybody knows they're great antioxidants, high in fiber.
And blueberries are a true berry too.
That's right. And say you were going to use this, you're making blueberry muffins. I was reading that if you don't want the blueberries to all rise to the top, you coat them in your dry ingredients before you put them in.
Exactly.
And
And we can put some in here, Carl, and
Yeah.
you can actually start.
and they said to add last because to
Yes.
avoid streaking,
Yeah,
so you don't
for
get
sure.
the blue dough, which is kind of cool. I always thought that was cool.
So because the scones are something that we're doing is kind of like we're adding the blueberries to the scones at the end. I'm just gonna measure out maybe a cup of blueberries here to put in, but we're not gonna put them in right away. I'll get Carl to go ahead and toss a little bit of that in here
Oh, yeah?
so
Oh,
that you
yeah,
can
so we're
coat
gonna
them.
coat them.
So I'll get you to coat them while I get on with the next
Jumped
step.
the gun about the tip.
You can, no, it's not gun jumping. You do whatever you feel like.
So just a little
Just a
dab.
little dash. Let me just do this so that people can see.
So we
There
coated
you
them,
go.
and then
Coated them.
we're just gonna whip it around.
Yeah, maze. Yep. There you go.
Frosted blueberry.
Frosted blueberries, but maybe not with the taste that you exactly want. Hey, baking soda?
If that was ice and sugar.
Yeah, that would
I'd
be amazing.
I'd be all over it.
Sure. So let's set that aside for a moment. So the
Okay.
next thing that we're gonna do today.
Baking feels too simple. I always feel like I'm forgetting. I know it's not, but I always feel like I'm forgetting ingredients.
Oh, I know.
You
It's,
know?
no, you know what? It's normal.
It's like 3 ingredients.
Yeah,
somehow.
well, this one is 3 ingredients. I mean, baking can be quite complex as well.
True.
There's a lot of chemical reactions that happen with baking.
So I noticed we bought a lemon.
We did, but that's coming later
is
for the
it?
jam.
I
Yep.
read in, oh yeah, I'll get to that later. Well, since
Yeah.
we're talking about blueberry tips, lemon was supposed to help break down the skin. Help with the baking.
Yep,
Because it's a
absolutely.
little tougher, right?
So the next step that we've gotten into here is making a well. So you need a well right off the bat for your mixture, just so that you can pour the wet ingredients in the middle.
We lost the guy.
We lost a guy. You can actually save him again. This is 3/4 cups. Do we have a full cup measure here? You know what, we'll just use 2 half cups, it's okay.
Yeah, you know, I got it here.
Oh, do you? Okay, amazing. So the next thing is our 2, thank you, actually 1.5 cups. Shouldn't say 2.5 and confuse everyone. 1.5 cups of heavy cream. And again, we're using the heavy cream not just because, you know, we want it to be delicious, but also because it is making up for that butter that we are not putting in. So, Carl, do you want to put it in? So we'll go ahead if you want to start with the whipping cream there.
Sure.
So Carl's just pouring it here into
So we had some left over, and I noticed that because of the fat content, whipped cream and heavy creams don't go bad for a long time. Whoa!
Ah, little for the bowl, a little for my shoe.
Look how excited you were ripping this thing.
Yeah, I'm gonna smell amazing later. All right, here we go.
Get you back for the last week.
He totally did. I'm having a whipped cream shower here, so there we go.
Get your shoe
So that's it. Don't worry about it
One
whatsoever.
whole one.
One whole one. Yep, there you go. And then here we go.
Another half.
Another
Well,
half.
I can, since this one's already.
Yeah. So just halfway full there. So we're gonna get that in. Okay, put it in. All right, so now what I'm gonna do is I've gotta fold the dough. So what is important about folding the dough here is that you do it carefully.
I'll clean up.
Oh, thank you. So Carl's gonna get our little bit of spillage. So when you're folding a dough to avoid it becoming really glutinous, does anybody have a tip for that? Anybody who's watching today, does anybody have any tips or tricks for me before I start getting into my own here? Ronnie?
Gentle.
No? Oh, sorry, you were saying, Marlene?
Oh, just be gentle.
Be gentle, exactly. So you want to imagine that you're being incredibly gentle with this. So I'm just going to go around the outside first, and then I'm going to start to fold like this. So what's important is that I'm just lifting from the bottom and going around. So big sweeping movements. I'm not like beating it or trying to work the flour.
I'd be in there with the fork going crazy.
Nothing wrong with that. Well, you can go buck wild when it's on time for the whipped cream.
Yeah.
No problem. So I'm just being very slow with this. Of course, there are many bakers who go a lot faster and then their dough comes together. We'll see if we need a little more. You can see again, when we're talking about biscuits versus buns, anything like scones and things like that, like it's a very kind of
Texture.
and
Yeah. You want it kind of dry-ish?
crumbly texture. Yeah, a little bit. We may have to
Add
add a little more. Let's wait and see how it comes together, and maybe we'll add a touch more.
Looking a bit dry, hey?
Yeah, a little bit, but let's see if I'm also not mixing it vigorously whatsoever. And it's gonna need to be rolled,
Where's
so
your shoes? Let me just aim.
this might be all right. Let's see.
But now your shoes won't match.
My shoes won't
You
match.
don't have whipped cream on your shoes.
No, so you can see it's starting to come together here. They're starting to really pick together. I'm worried if I add, we don't want it to be a wet mixture, so.
So is this going in a muffin tray or?
It
just
can
putting
go in a
them
muffin
flat?
tray, so he'll, like, what you're supposed to do is just put them flat on a tray. If you're actually truly making
Like
a scone,
country styles.
like a country style kind of biscuit, yeah, it just goes on a tray. But why don't we try Hild's tip of using, because then they'll be perfect and cute little
Yeah, I
sizes.
pulled them out, so. we
Yeah,
can
that's
try.
amazing. Actually, Carl, do you want to go ahead and spray that before we add
Sure
more
thing.
to this?
And
I- yeah. I will. Well, I'll get you to pour. I'll just see. I'm gonna get in there with my hand now. I want to just, you just want enough to keep the dough from sticking to your hands, right? And that's the thing with a good scone. It's a little bit drier than your typical recipe, right? So now I am going to pull this out. So I am going to work this just a touch with my hands. And that's why I was so careful with the folding, is because you really do want it to not stick to your hands.
You sure?
Maybe I can put a touch more,
A little bit.
just a touch, like a tiny, tiny touch, not too much. That's enough. Yeah, there you go. All right, so I'll just work that in a little more. So now I'm using my hands. I, again, don't want it to be too sticky, right? So I'm going to bring it out onto the board here. Sorry, I'm repeating
You're just gonna
myself.
pull it off?
I'm going to pull it out.
Okay.
So here we
Because
go.
we're having a nice countertop helps.
This is, so having a countertop, like a cool countertop is good for this. You don't want somewhere where it's super hot. Again, when you're baking, if you're in a super hot zone, that's kind of tough. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna knead it 5 to 7 times. So we have to fold it and knead it. So here's one. Thank you. So folding, I again don't want to overactivate it, so I'm just pressing it down to bring it together.
It's almost
Gonna
like a
fold it.
pizza consistency.
It is. 3.
So no sugar.
No sugar.
What's it? Okay, that's for later.
That's
jam.
for our jam. That's why we're making the jam, because there is no sugar in this.
Interesting.
Okay, 4. There we go.
Okay.
5.
You lost count.
All right. 6. Almost there, friends.
How's your arms?
That's good. It's not like bread kneading, right? 7. All right, so I folded it 7 times, and then gently roll it out. And we want to roll it out to a specific thickness. So this recipe, what thickness is calling for a 1/2 inch thickness.
So
Now,
you want a pan or a bowl?
yeah, if you have a bottle, that would be amazing.
Yeah.
So a good trick is if you don't have a rolling pin in your house, we don't have a rolling pin here. Ours got kind of borrowed and never came back. You can get a empty old wine bottle. Most of us have wine bottles at our homes. And then you just flour it and roll with that, okay? Or if you have like a vinegar bottle or something like that, whatever you've got. If you don't drink wine, that's totally fine.
Yeah, we use this one already, I can tell.
Oh, yeah, you can tell. So Carl is gonna just rinse that out to roll this out. Anybody have any questions so far?
Coming together.
It's coming together. Who makes scones at home? How many of you? Stella, have you ever made a scone? No?
It's a scone in
You
a
haven't?
biscuit.
No, I seldom bake. No, I never try.
Okay, well, this is cool. So this will be good. But Stella, you know what's interesting is that, and I'll tell you in a sec. Sorry, Carl.
Yep.
You know what makes it really interesting is that you do really complex cooking when you're making your wontons, like your wonton wrappers and stuff like that. So if you can do wonton wrappers, you can 100% make these. Quite amazing.
I may try. Hey, Becca, are you using the self-rising flour, you say?
Yeah,
We made our own
Okay.
self-rising
we
flour.
made our own, and you can do
Oh, you
that.
make your own?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just baking soda and salt inside your flour.
All right,
Okay, thanks.
just a touch more, and then we're good.
What happens if you overflow?
If you overflour, then the bun gets it gets dry. The scone gets super dry and gross.
We don't want that.
No. So we don't want to have to add too many extra ingredients. Like that's the one thing, again, with baking and stuff like that, if they've given you specific, particularly for leavening, particularly when it comes to like measuring and your base and stuff like that with your flour, that's something that you don't want to deviate too much from. You can always deviate with spices. You can always deviate with flavor, but try not to deviate with your actual measurements because then disaster.
And I can see how this got a little, what's the word, doughy.
Yeah, you can see it's really
From
come
when it
together,
was so
right?
crumbly, yeah, and that's
Yeah.
just from you folding it.
That's right, and that's why, again, sifting the flour is so important. You don't want to overwork it because you know at the end, I'm gonna do something like this and then, good Lord, you know?
Yeah.
All right, so here we go. The one thing that we haven't done, haha,
What's
is
that?
put in the blueberries.
Oh, we're
And you know what? I wonder, we'll cut them up.
kind of on top,
We'll
right?
put them on top, Carl. It's cool beans. I don't mind. All right, so now that we've got this done
You
here.
wouldn't have been able to roll them, right?
No, well, that's it. I want to cut the dough. So biscuits and scones, what I consider biscuits compared to these scones are very similar. So my own biscuits that I make have like butter versus cream.
Okay.
But I mean, that being said, I think biscuits and scones, the base recipe is
Similar, right?
incredibly
Very
similar.
similar.
Thank you for that question.
I was curious.
Rebecca,
Yes,
can I use oil instead of butter?
you can use oil instead of butter if you're making biscuits. Yes.
How about making scones? No.
Scones, can I be honest? With this recipe, you don't use any butter at all. You don't use any oil or butter. It's just cream.
Whipped cream.
Oh, whipped
Yeah.
cream. Oh, okay.
I think cream at that fat content is almost like butter in itself, right?
Exactly. And it does the same job, right? So you really want to make sure that you are, Not adding too much grease, but yes, I don't see our giant knife. Oh,
I
man.
hit them on you, buddy.
You hit them. Oh, I see it now.
No.
We have to bring back our continuity, which is our
These
giant
are
knife.
dangerous. Oh.
Yay! All right, so now we're gonna cut these
I
into
was thinking we
biscuits.
would use like a cup and cut it.
You could
we could cook some
absolutely
cutter.
use it. You could absolutely do it
let's-
that
Let's
way.
see what you can do with a
Well,
knifey here.
Honestly, like I just want to cut them into
Square.
like
You're going
regularly.
square.
Well, what I'm doing is just cutting them into relatively the same size,
Yep.
right? So yeah, that being said, friends, like cut it the way you want to cut it. I'm cutting them fairly small, right? Because I was thinking ours would be smaller.
Yeah.
That being said though, Carl's idea of the cups is perfect. You can also cut them into triangles. I mean, traditionally, yes, you want to cut them into triangles. This one's calling for squares, so I'm doing it. Squares,
Yep.
you do you. You do
You do
you.
you.
All right, so here we go. So I'm gonna cut these across.
Yeah,
Beautiful. Okay. You want to bring me that cup, Carl?
sure thing.
Yeah, bring it, bring it, bring it.
Cup.
Yep. Muffin cups.
Ah, muffin cup. Oh, I
Word
already know. We're
association,
here.
working on it all the time.
Oh.
Oh, look at that. He's
So
done.
you're just gonna fold them into
All
it?
right. Yes. Gonna put it in. So I'm just gonna roll them into
I'm
it.
just
Yeah.
watching this whole thing.
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah,
an
just watch it
amazed
happen.
Child.
You shouldn't be an amazed child.
I
It's fine.
know.
All right. So
Ba-
I'm gonna fold these over like
Baking
this.
just right over my head.
So what I do with mine when I cut them into squares is I just fold them over and set them down.
That's cool.
Yeah. So
You
it's just
don't
like,
even need to push them in or anything.
no, I don't push them in.
Look at
They're
this.
they're shaped that they are.
This is easy breezy.
So if you're doing it on a tray pan, the reason again that I didn't do these in the triangles is again because I'm just folding them over.
That's smart.
I'm just folding them over, so I
And
don't
we're
need
just
to.
gonna sprinkle blueberries.
We can actually, Carl, I'm almost wondering if we just leave them off at this point and
Well,
then
they're
just,
covered in flour, right?
are they covered in flour?
I
I don't think I can make them go in though at this point.
I can rinse them off and eat them.
Yeah, why don't you
Okay.
rinse them off? Yeah, that would be bomb. If you could
Okay.
rinse them off and eat them, amazing.
More
right.
blueberries for me.
More for you. So you can see again, I'm just folding over,
These are
sticking
nice.
in. Aren't they pretty?
Yeah. And they'll settle a little.
They'll
right?
settle a little. We're gonna let them do their thing.
Okay.
But they'll settle a little. Then we're gonna put them in for 500 degrees. Ha!
That's a lot.
Once it's there, so it says turn down to 400 degrees. I don't
Right
know.
now?
Yeah, turn it down to 400 degrees.
Wow.
I've never cooked them like this, but that's okay. Yeah, usually what I do is I put them at about 375 and I cook them for like 10, 15 minutes when I'm doing them on a tray. We're gonna follow this recipe today just because I followed it to a T this far. And I've never done scones without butter and only with cream. So I think maybe there might be a specific reason why it has to be so hot at the beginning.
It is warm over here.
Yeah, I bet it's hot.
Woo.
Hot like the flaming sun. Here I come.
Like it's not hot enough outside already. Okay, be careful.
Ready, spaghetti?
1, 2, 3.
In it gets. All right, can you set it for 10 minutes?
I can.
All right, so the next thing that we're gonna do now, I'm gonna set this stuff aside, is get into the secondary portion of our baking today, which is making jam.
Taste.
How many people make jam?
No.
Most of you? No? Any of you? Ronnie, I see shaking her head like this. Few of you? Carol, you're muted, so I can't hear you, but I see you smiling.
Yeah, she's talking.
You're talking. If you
Here.
unmute yourself, then I can hear what you're saying. And that's the thing with everybody, feel free to unmute yourself all the time so we can chat with you.
Where do you need from?
So right now, what I need to do, these have been washed and picked over. So what you want to do, the first thing you want to do,
Are we mashing?
we're going to mash. For this recipe, it's 600 grams. So that's close to, that's a lot of cups. So there's 64 grams in a cup.
Is it?
Yeah, so that's like more than 6. It's quite it's a lot more than 6 cups. I'm gonna what I'm gonna do today is I'm gonna recommend, we're gonna mash it in there though. We won't mash it
No,
here.
Right here.
Not right here. But I love the enthusiasm.
You're gonna do it in the pot.
We're gonna do it in the pot. So
Okay.
do you mind, first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna start a pot. We're gonna put it at, and you know what, Carl?
Pretty hot?
Yeah, I would say, can we use this one? Because we need more surface space, it's gonna cook
Yeah, as
faster.
long as it's not gonna boil over.
Yeah,
Why not?
yeah, so a good trick with this is that if you have a wider bottom pot that you can use, whoops, as I strike the camera, it's always better to do that because it'll cook more evenly with more surface space, right? Especially when you're making like a jam or a. But for this, I was talking about how many, this right now is about, let me just tell you. Okay, so this is 910 grams. So it's calling for 600. So we're gonna use about three quarters of the package. We're not gonna use the whole package. So we're gonna use I guess in cups, I mean roughly like 4 or 5 cups. Maybe even 6 cups. Yeah, it's gonna be more than 6
Well,
cups
if you
actually.
made it all, you made it all.
Yeah, well, the thing is, what I always do with this is that I adjust based on looking at, yes, you can follow to a T. You can do 600 grams of blueberries, and then you can do, I believe it's a cup of sugar, so that's 400 grams of granulated sugar. And then you do about a tablespoon of lemon juice. And what that does is it encourages the, basically the process of breaking down. Not only does it break it down, but it allows the berries to become like with the sugar, like crystallize and become a little bit viscous.
Yeah.
Not crystallize, you don't want it crystallized. It allows it to become thick and yeah,
So
like a jam.
the jams I knew from growing up, they always
Yeah.
had, you had to put in this special powder.
Pectin.
Yeah, you wanna explain that?
Yeah, so
And why you
pectin.
don't need it?
Okay, so what pectin does for you with jams is it basically allows it to thicken up and it makes your jam go farther for less cooking time. So you don't have to cook it as much and then your jam goes farther. But if I'm being honest with you, if I'm making a jam with pectin, which is still fine and delicious, I find that the integrity of the taste, like of the flavor, is not as strong. So you make less jam without pectin, but it has a stronger flavor because you cook it longer and you, I don't know, you just don't spread it out as much because what pectin does as well is adds volume.
Does it?
It adds volume because you add
Does it
water.
make it more gelatinous, like a jelly, or that's totally different?
No, I mean, it'll make it gelatinous faster is the thing. Like this is still gonna be gelatinous. This will change the composition
This
of the
is-
actual berry.
Fresh jam.
Yeah, well, this is fresh jam, and what it'll do is it'll use the sugar molecules to thicken versus the pectin. So
Okay.
it's just different. It's
Interesting.
different.
It's pretty simple.
It's very
sugar and
simple.
blueberries. Blueberries aren't very sweet, I was realizing. Eh?
Yeah, no.
Yeah, they
Although if you're not eating a lot of sugar, all fruit is super sweet. You can really taste the fructose if you
Yeah.
stop eating sugar. It's amazing if you stop drinking and eating like
sweet.
artificial sweets, and then you just do it for a week, and then you taste something.
Like a strawberry.
It's incredibly sweet. Like even grapefruits, which I find sour.
I'll follow you over here.
All right, so what I'm gonna do, thank you, Carl. Do you mind passing me the, well, first thing I need actually is the cup measure.
Yep.
I'm just gonna do 6.5 cups, I think.
Okay, you want
And
to
that'll
put
be
one?
about 3/4, yeah. And I'm sorry that my measurements weren't exact in the beginning. Follow the gram measurements. I'm doing this because I really am comfortable making jams. But yeah, 600 grams to 600 grams of blueberries to 400 grams of sugar and a tablespoon of or a half of lemon juice, okay?
All right.
Thank you, Carl, you're the best. All
So
right.
the fresh one, you want me to squeeze it or what?
I would love for you to squeeze it. So you can use the lemon juice out of the jar
Yeah,
again.
we have that.
Yeah.
But I
so-
gotta do something today.
Yeah, so
So-
I'm gonna turn that down a little bit, that's pretty hot, so I'll take that off the stove right away, because those are already cooking. So what I'm doing is I'm just dumping in my cups, here we go. So I asked Carl to turn it on, you can hear this is already cooking a bit here,
Want me to juice the whole guy, the whole thing?
yes?
You don't need lemon slices or rinds?
Oh, you know what, just juice half for me.
Juice is loose.
Juice is loose, baby. All right, here we go. So what you wanna do too is as you're tossing it in, if you miss stuff, you wanna pick out anything that's like, we used to pick over our berries quite stringently. We haven't picked them over quite as much today.
The stems and
The
whatnot?
stems and whatnot. Oh, I can smell that lemon, Carl. There we go. So I've got about, there we go.
Squeeze it like my
And then
wife.
a little bit more here. So you can already smell the berries here. All right, and with the blueberries, oh, you know what we forgot to get, Carl?
What's that?
Our basil. So what I love to put in
You want me
with
to run
blueberries,
outside and get basil?
I don't know if you feel up to it, you can, it'll taste amazing. But one hot tip as well that I want to share with you for your jams is if you put herbs in with your jams, it takes them to a whole nother level.
Now I'm curious.
Yeah, if you put blueberry and basil together, the taste is incredible. It's kind of like doing a rosemary shortbread. Oh my God, if we had done rosemary in there and then basil, ooh, baby.
Really?
Yeah, it tastes amazing. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is go ahead and get the sugar as well.
Squeeze the life out of this guy.
He's squeezing, I'm grabbing. So what we're gonna do next is just grab the sugar. I'm gonna grab my cup of sugar to go over the top. So Carl is just keeping an eye on those blueberries, stirring them around so that they don't burn. That's perfect, Carl. Thank you very much. All right. technically speaking, you can put your sugar in first, but that's fine. Here comes the sugar, right over the top. So the sugar has to start melting. So we're just gonna get that immediately. You can kind of see the sugar coating. We're just gonna wait a second, let it start to, thank you, Carl.
Lemons, maybe?
Yeah, lemon's coming very soon, that's right. We're gonna let it, the sugar melt first, then we'll add the lemon.
Just gonna check our camera here.
So Carl's gonna check the camera to make sure everything's good, which is really good because we always tend to let the camera go.
It wasn't meant to record more than 30 minutes, so
Isn't it funny, eh?
now today it is.
Yeah.
Okay.
So can everybody see the blueberries okay? The state of them?
How's it looking?
Looking good. So now that the sugar is melted, which really only takes a second or two, what we're gonna do is actually mash them. So if you have a masher, awesome. If you don't, you can just use a fork. Whatever you've got in your kitchen is fine. We have this masher, so I'm gonna go ahead. There are people who don't like to mash their blueberries. If you like whole blueberries in there, don't worry about this part, okay? Just cook them down as whole blueberries. But because
half mash or, just
you could, I mean, like what we can do is mash these, and then Carl, if you want to add a couple of whole ones later, we can.
This?
Just like that. I mean, these ones are gonna get massacred if they come in now because I'm just mashing. Now, the great thing about jam is that it's also very therapeutic, right? Having a bad day, make some jam, mash that kind of stuff.
Well, it saves her from punching me so much. Oh, it looks good.
It's
They
looking
break
great.
apart right away.
They
with
do.
the heat and the sugar.
Yeah, absolutely. They break down really well. Marlene, are you gonna be canning anything from your garden this year?
I've got zucchini. I'm making zucchini bread like crazy.
How does that bread turn out?
Excellent. Turned out really good.
Tell the story of the zucchini you missed.
Yeah, I check every day to make sure they don't get too big. And then about five days ago, I went out and I found one that was hiding. It was about that big.
Under the leaves? It was
Under
fat,
the leaves.
right? Yeah.
A giant one.
And they lose their flavor, but like you were saying, bread, like zucchini bread's almost like a banana bread, no?
Yeah, it was fine for the bread. Yeah.
Right.
Not much for fruits and stuff in your garden, more veggies, eh?
No, we had a peach tree once when you were little.
I remember.
We didn't get too many.
The bees, it was all bees.
All bees, oh boy, all
Well,
bees
when
all
they
the
fall off
time.
the trees, right?
Yeah,
You can't eat them fast enough.
you couldn't, no.
So
How are we looking
we're
there?
looking good. I'm
There's your
gonna,
lemon juice.
thank you for the
Okay.
lemon juice, Carl. I'm gonna add in a bit of the lemon juice now, just to lighten the flavor. Carl, do we want to put basil in here? What do you think?
I can run outside, I guess. How many?
I would just
pieces?
get 3 or 4 pieces.
A
You don't want
sprig?
too much. I
Okay.
would just get a sprig.
I'll be back.
So Carl's gone out to get the basil for us because honestly, it brings such a nice flavor. Thank you, Carl, the best person.
Now we can talk about Carl. He's gone.
He's gone. Now we're just honest. How do we feel about Carl, friends? I think he's a pretty solid guy, to be honest with you. He's a pretty great partner in the kitchen.
You are the most charming pair of chefs in broadcasting.
Oh, well,
Wonderful together. No,
Thank
you are.
you.
You're really just very uplifting as well as delicious.
Oh, well, thank you. Can
Yes,
I
I agree. Yes, I agree. I enjoy it.
Oh, that's so great. Can I be honest? You folks really help us to have a wonderful time, and your input and your ideas are really what are driving this whole thing. So I can't wait till we're back in person, and then we can have a few of you on camera with us. It's gonna be super fun. It's gonna be super duper fun. Everybody knows we're reopening, right?
Yes.
Which is
I missed the first part. Can I go to the online from your recording?
Of course you can go to online from the recording. Yeah, you can do, yeah, Mary. So the way that it's working is that we're gonna run our online programs, continue to run this kind of a program in tandem with our in-person program. So
Okay.
Jennifer,
Thank you.
You're welcome, our in-persons. Oh my, so we're still cooking. So this is where the difference between pectin and no pectin also makes a difference. So now we're counting on the sugar to thicken up for us. So you can see it's already gonna start to thicken, but this has to cook for a good 15, 20 minutes before it's thick enough. And also, oh, look, Carl to the rescue. So Carl,
I ran all the way home
yeah.
just to get.
Ran fast. Well, I wouldn't be surprised if Carl ran all the way home. This is the person who liked the marathons. Carl and I are going to actually be biking 50K.
September,
September.
bike ride for the hospice.
Yeah, for the hospice. So,
So do you want these chopped?
yeah, I do actually, in small, or just in half actually, because we can pull them
Just
out.
rip them?
Yeah, rip
Like a
them in half
bay
in
leaf
fairly
kind of
large
thing.
pieces.
Oh,
So what
I
we're
wanted to chop.
Oh, okay. If you want to chop it, they'd have to be chopped super
I'm
fine.
gonna wait. We'll do it your way.
No, no. Chop them super fine.
Yeah?
Yep. If you take the stems out though, if you're doing it that way.
Okay.
So poor Carl.
So what did I miss?
So basically, we were just talking about reopening and how everybody's enjoying the show and having a good time.
Yeah.
Also about you as a human.
Me? You
Yeah.
visit my ears were burning. I knew it. I knew it. Somebody was talking about me.
Of course,
Hope it was all good things.
it was all. But honestly,
Yeah, we're gonna have guest cooks on our show, or members, right?
yeah, of course. Yeah, we were talking about that. We're saying when people are here in person, buckle up, buttercups,
Oh, it's
because
gonna be wild.
it's gonna be fun.
Wild but safe.
Yes, wild but safe. I like how that's not a juxtaposition of anything.
No.
All right, here we go.
Safe wild.
Yeah. All right,
So
so,
super diced, eh?
yep, super diced, because if we're actually gonna keep it in, I don't want it to be a weird textural thing.
It's Carl's time to shine today.
Carl's time to shine. How's the chopping going? Maybe, so everybody can see that the jam is pretty much, working away here. I'm gonna bring this back over so you can see how finely. A trick that you can do with the herbs in your jams is that if you're gonna plan to be like doing like a really clear, fine jam that you're sieving, just leave the leaves half, like cut them in half just to crush them and release those essential oils that are within the leaves themselves.
Yeah.
And then you can just fish them out easily later. If you are keeping them in because you want to, they have to be super fine. I mean, and we're not going to be taking out the blueberries out of this.
I'm gonna eat them.
So, yeah, so we're just going to go ahead and leave it for textural. That's fine. So Carl's going to chop it fine though, so it's not like you get a big.
It's almost like a paste. It's so fine here.
Oh man,
See,
they're
ready?
done, Carl. They're
They are?
done.
Okay, let me
Oh
get
my
those.
God, they look awesome.
Let me
They
get
look
those.
awesome.
You sure they're finished?
Take a peek.
Oh,
You never believe me. This guy.
What's your?
Take a peek.
Oh, look at those.
Show them off.
These are beautiful.
And they are.
Yeah, and I love that little folding that she did when she put them. Let me just get these off my
Turned out
hands.
really pretty.
That's hot.
It's hot. So I'm still cooking away. Carl,
I'm
you're
ready with your basil.
wonderful with the basil.
You want it
Let's
in-
bring the
in here?
camera. Yeah, let's bring the camera back, and I want you to put it in, but I want you to do it on camera.
Okay.
I know, I'm so fastidious about this stuff.
Right.
All right, fancy lady.
All right.
Thank you, Carl.
This is fancy too. I really stepped it up a notch. Sometimes it's just one little special ingredient that can make it like fancy,
Absolutely, and because we're gonna be counting on this jam for flavor, it's really important that, like for additional flavor to the scone, it's
Yeah.
really important that we flavor it well. Carl, can I ask you now, maybe we can start the whipped cream?
Sure thing.
So today with the whipped cream, what we wanna make sure is that we don't over whip. So when you over whip, as Marlene so aptly put out last week, it ends up being like butter. It's not nice. So as soon as it gets fluffy, it's done. So can everybody see how this jam is coagulating here?
Yes.
So it's really coming together. You have to take it off pretty soon.
So whipped cream, just put it in and whip it.
Just put it in and whip it.
No
Whip
sugar?
it good.
No sugar?
We can put some sugar, Carl. I would say like how much, so if you use a cup.
Yeah.
If you use a cup of whipped cream and you want like a sweet one, it's a 1/4 cup sugar. If you don't want it that sweet because we're counting on the jam, you can even do it with like a couple of tablespoons of sugar.
So am I just making all of this?
Uh,
I mean, you can't have too much whipped cream, right?
I guess. Okay,
Who doesn't like whipped cream?
okay.
This I can't screw up, I don't think. Maybe?
Yes, you can.
I could.
As long as you don't over whip it, it's
What-
okay.
What's the measure of the
Not
sugar?
too much sugar, not too much sugar, because the jam's super sweet.
Okay.
Because in this one, the sugar's not integral to the structure of the cream thickening.
Just put a little, right? Boing.
Yeah. All right, so while Carl's doing that, Oh, yeah, you can't mess it up because he's not doing it with the electric
Yeah,
one.
you see.
Oh, have a good time, Carl.
Wait, how long is this gonna take?
It doesn't take you a while, Carl. Usually it takes me about 10 minutes.
10 minutes? Let's see. Guys, start
Has
your
anybody
timer.
else really mastered the whipping of cream with your hand? How long does it take you folks?
Took me 15 minutes to do a liter once.
Oh, girl,
Okay,
15
okay,
minutes.
okay.
You are amazing.
Let's see.
My hero, a leader.
That's a lot.
It's a lot, Marlene.
Did I eat it all?
Somebody forgot to have a beater handy.
I mean, I can pull out the electric, but no, let's finish what we started,
Yeah, let's
James.
finish what we started, Carl. Come on, you got this. This guy's a tank. You can do it.
Oh.
I'm also a tank, but I'm quote unquote busy doing it over here. But I could do this for 10 or 15 minutes. I can. All right, so go.
Stick it in a jar to the whipped cream stage before you get to butter.
Okay,
That's super smart, Ronnie. I wish I had done that. I'm gonna move this off now. I think that's pretty coagulated. I'll keep moving that down, and I need to put it into something. It's still too hot to put into a jar right now, so
And
we'll
that
just.
pot, that pot's not hot.
That pot's not hot? Okay, so what I'm gonna do,
Pot's not hot.
pot's not hot, you crack me up. All right, so what I wanna do is cool this fairly quickly. Now, I would like to put a little bit into a smaller vessel, because I'm gonna try, let me taste this now.
No cheating.
It's good. Okay. Let me see. How long have I been cooking that, Carl?
40 minutes?
20 minutes? Sweet.
I don't know. To be honest, I was just
Yeah,
saying
that's
numbers.
pretty good. I think that's looking pretty nice. The beautiful thing about this type of jam too, friends, with pectin, oh, you're doing great. You're doing really good. Show them what you're doing. I know, he's really fighting for it, friends. Look at this. Now, the beautiful thing about the kind of jam that I've got here is that if you do your jam, now I'm rushing the jam today a little bit. I would usually cook it maybe a little bit longer, but because we're on a time frame, I want to have it with the scone and the whipped cream. Carl, that's looking awesome. You're almost there.
My arms.
Here.
You
Okay.
wanna go?
Okay, I'm gonna do this. I want you
Yep.
to put a little bit, if it's not too hot, into something that can go into the fridge or the freezer so that it cools down quickly so we can use it as a jam.
You wanna put ice cubes in there?
Oh, no ice cubes. No, the water would break the integrity. So just a little bit, not a lot.
Not all?
Not all, just a touch. Just enough for our scones. There, so it cools off. All right, so here we go. We got this. Let's go. Because I find, again, it's a stress reliever for me. Carl's done a really great job. It's almost there. I'm turning it to the side so you can see.
You want the stove off?
What's that?
Stove off?
Yeah, stove can go off, that's fine. And look, here we are, that's pretty good. Getting to the stage of over with there, so stopping immediately. I can see it's a little bit crumbly, let me taste.
Oh, that's because I did too good a job.
You did a great job. That's bomb, that is really good. And what I will say is this, I have my mask down, so putting my mask back up, sorry, yeah, get out of here, sir.
Good enough.
What I will say is this, if you're using a sweet jam, less sugar in the whipped cream, I'm sure you all know that. But yeah, that way it kind of balances out beautifully. And why don't we can bring Melissa on camera and get her to taste this and give an honest opinion.
The judge?
She's the judge. Oh, no.
You didn't give her any warning.
No warning, no warning. That's the best kind of judging, is the kind that you don't expect. So the last thing we're gonna do, you know what, we should have kept a bit of that basil and put it off to the side.
You want me to run home again?
If you wanna run home, and on the way out, tell Melissa.
I'll do it for the
Yeah, you
plating.
do it for the plating.
Yeah.
All right, so
That's
what
my
I'm gonna do
specialty.
here is build one for Melissa.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Wow,
So-
you killed that, eh?
Oh,
I
yeah,
must have got it part
you
way.
got it mostly done, and then
It was
I
all
just quickly
her.
whipped it. It wasn't all me.
You need
I do
to
have
brew a
advice.
pot of tea with your scones,
Yeah,
right?
we do need a tea.
With,
Nothing like a good high tea.
with one of those with the cozies?
Oh.
The tea cozies?
I have a tea cozy.
Oh,
I
there
make
you
tea
do.
cozies. I'm such a grandma in my heart.
So
I love it so
I
much.
remember seeing those a lot growing up, tea cozies.
Oh, yeah. Tea cozies are great. All right,
That's
so
fine.
let's move this over. So first thing we're gonna do, Carl, let me give that to you so everyone can
That's
see.
dangerous. Don't give me the whipped cream.
Don't give you the whipped cream. I gotta give,
I'm gonna eat it.
well, that's okay. That's what it's for. So I don't eat it all by myself and make myself sick. All right, here we go. Everybody can see that okay? All right, so I'm gonna pick a nice scone here.
Yeah.
This beautiful scone here that is still warm. You can see with the folding, it turned out really lovely. So you're gonna place that down here. The next thing we're gonna do is, Carl, do you have any of the jam? Can we check on the status of that jam?
In the freezer.
Yeah, check the jam. So you just take a spoonful or a forkful of cream.
Oh, that actually worked. It was only in there for a minute.
Good. It coagulates pretty quickly. And then I need a separate spoon if that's okay.
Oh, fancy over here.
Fancy over here.
Separate spoon.
Separate spoon. Well, I don't want cream in my jam. Gross.
It all ends up in the same place.
Cut off. This coming from my presentation,
I
man.
know.
All right, and then I'm gonna put a little jam off to the side and a little jam on top.
Just a little drizzle.
Just a little drizzle. And that is it. Now Melissa is ready to receive
It's a little weak on the
First
whipped
jam.
cream there.
a little weak on the whipped cream. Well, I mean, if you want more, you can cover it or get a piping bag and make it really beautiful, but this is like very rustic.
Yeah.
This is super
I
rustic.
like the folding business.
Yeah. When we do our presentation, like when we do the actual presentation at the end, you'll be able to see, but here is the finished product.
And where would you put the basil? Just kind of on the,
I would just put the basil off to the side, or you can put it on the
like
top.
one leaf, right?
One leaf.
Yeah,
All right, let's see,
Fancy.
maybe let's see if Melissa wants to take a little
yeah.
bite.
Yeah, you want me to
Yeah,
get
go
it?
and see if she'll come for like
Get the
2
judge.
seconds. We need a
Get
judge.
the judge.
We need a judge. How does it look for everybody else? Like if you're being fancy high tea friends, you can put everything in separate little cups and make it really stunning. But again, we're super rustic here at Kensington.
It's fabulous.
That looks good, huh?
Yeah.
Yay. I wish I could share it with you. You know, soon we'll be able to. I cannot wait.
Very tempting.
She's coming.
Yeah?
She's getting
Can I
it.
come over?
Oh, come over. We'll give it to you outside. Come over. As long as we're distanced, we can do it. Of course.
I just,
Tomorrow.
okay.
Yeah, okay, good.
She's coming. She's not too happy about this.
Not too
She
happy.
will be when she eats
She's gonna
this,
be
though.
one happy
Yeah,
chappy
yeah,
when
yeah.
she sees this.
Look at this.
All right,
There,
here
she
comes
is.
Melissa. Okay, Melissa. All right, Judge. Okay, Melissa, get in there. Give her a bite. All righty, what are we having today? This is scones with fresh whipped cream and blueberry jam, blueberry basil jam.
Did you guys make that from scratch?
We made everything from
No,
scratch.
we bought it at the store. And
It does look store bought. A little bit of that, a little bit of that.
have the choices of what you want to dip it in.
Mm,
Yeah, it is.
Okay, the blueberry is really good.
Yay!
The one just melts in your mouth.
Yay!
Really just,
She's a great judge.
I
just
know.
really, really melts in your mouth. It's so good, so buttery and nice.
Nice. Without butter, right?
Yeah, it's
Yeah, no
really
butter,
soft.
only
No,
whipped cream.
no butter. Very delicious.
Amazing.
Can't wait to try making this on my own.
Well, you may as well take the
Amazing.
plate.
You take the whole thing, girl. That's for you.
That's your judge fee.
That is your fee.
Thanks,
Yeah.
everyone.
All right, thank you. Does anybody have any questions about that? Anything that you'd like to ask, or anything like that you'd like to try in particular?
That was,
Yeah,
yeah, all good, everybody. It's pretty simple, eh?
pretty straightforward. And these buns that Hild recommended are so flaky.
Yeah.
Amazing.
And it was just whipped cream,
Yeah.
flour. Oh, and we made our own rising.
We made our own self-rising flour, which you will too.
Because we're pros.
We are
right?
pros.
And you are too.
Yeah, you certainly are. We can all be pros.
Yeah.
Now for next week, my dears, is there anything that you would like to try? Any suggestions
Cooking.
for cooking? It's cooking with Carl next week, so we need to.
We can go geographical if you want me to make a certain kind of dish or pick an ingredient or just something you've been craving.
Yeah, something that you'd like a fast and fun recipe for that you've been craving. That's a great one too.
Mhm.
What would you like?
Zucchini bread.
Zucchini bread, eh?
Zucchini bread.
I could bring one from home. My mom's got a million.
All right, amazing. We could do zucchini bread.
Well-
And what about a protein to go with
Could
it?
that be a side for?
Yeah, It totally could. So
Is anything you like? Anything you
Nice
like?
with cream cheese.
True, true. Oh, maybe we'll do some veggies and we'll make like a light lunch.
yeah. Does anybody have a particular kind of light lunch dish that they want to go with the zucchini bread?
The bread's a nice side, right?
Yeah.
How long does it take to make the bread?
Zucchini bread, Marlene? How long? About half an hour?
It takes about 40 minutes to bake after you've got it mixed.
The bacon,
Yeah.
Good thing is you can mix it by hand like Carl did today with the whipped cream. You don't need a beater.
When you're eating food like this, you have to mix it by hand.
Let's go zucchini, because I can also do like, you know, you can cook zucchini fry pan, some
Absolutely.
veggies on top of it. I don't know. Let's see. Maybe
Yeah.
we'll go out
Zucchini
to
festival.
Zucchini Fest.
I love that.
Well, think of a protein. Maybe some
Amazing.
chicken. Who knows?
And Mary, thank you so much for the suggestion. Awesome.
Mm,
Thank you.
Yes.
Good idea.
Oh, you're
You're
welcome.
welcome.
So everybody,
Oh,
Oh,
you
yeah.
can add nuts like
add
almond
nuts.
or
Okay.
walnut or whatever in the skinny bread.
Sounds good to me. We can
Interesting.
certainly add nuts. That's all right.
We'll go nuts with it.
Go nuts.
Okay.
I'm already nuts, so that's okay. All right, friends, listen, we appreciate having you here. Thank you for coming. It's such a pleasure to have you, and we are looking forward to seeing you again soon.
Next
Thank
week.
you.
All right.
See you both.
Becca and Carl.
Thank you for
Bye.
coming. We love you.
Tomorrow.
This is my favorite scone.
Oh,
Oh,
yay!
nice,
That's
nice.
amazing. Well, great. We'll have to make it again sometime just for you.
Oh, I love it.
Amazing. All right.
Have
We'll
a
see you
great
soon,
day.
everybody. Take good care.
Yeah, bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.